Hello and welcome. I am Matute Morales. In this video I want to retouch this image and let's try to make a tutorial. So I will skip all the camera raw part. I only gonna tell you at this step the important thing for color workflow will be really sure that we are working in sRGB. You can change your color space pressing in the bottom line and here selecting sRGB. I'm gonna open this image and I'm gonna jump straight to Photoshop. Let me go to full screen and okay, of course this looks like a challenging skin and could be. Of course we're gonna use the secret sauce for this work and I hope you can learn new stuff. After doing the skin retouch I want to do different things in the overall image. For example, I want to try to reduce or smooth a little the wrinkles in the clothes and maybe play a little with color, with the overall colors and light. The image it's great, everything in the image it's really good, and I want to try to make it I don't know if the word is stand up or stand out, but I will try to get all the potential of this image. I think it's a really good example to work with different tools in Photoshop. So let's begin with skin and let's proceed with everything else. Okay, I will try to assume that this is a real world retouching and not just one image for one example where I can take all the time in the world to leave this perfect and maybe do everything by hand. So the idea of this is you can get one overall idea of working with the secret sauce in your workflow and with your sessions. So let's assume this, just in case you're thinking that some things can be done more in detail, you're totally right. But maybe if you need to retouch 30 images, you will try to make the things faster. I'm gonna create a new layer. You're gonna see me during the video use a lot of shortcuts. If you can try to learn how to use your keyboard to create different things in Photoshop, you're gonna save a lot of time. For example, I know it's really easy go to here and click this button, but for me it's even faster. Use a shortcut to create an empty layer. In my case it's Command Alt Shift N and I create an empty layer. So okay, in this new layer I only gonna remove like the really big stuff, and after this I gonna use I guess I gonna use first flaking out, probably. I don't know, I think I'm guessing. I didn't retouch this image, so I don't know how it's gonna look, but I think that could be a good starting point. Again, I will not spend a lot of time in small details. I only want to remove the really big one or the really big details, and then I'm gonna use the actions. I guess we are sort of good to go. I'm gonna remove this and this. For sure I want to clone this or maybe this flower to fill in this spot. Okay, let's remove this as well. Let me take a look. All right, let's go and okay. By the way, I'm using the spot healing brush. That's all. Okay, I'm gonna use the flecking out. And be sure to have selected the layer mask. I'm gonna press B to select the brush, and I'm gonna press D to get the default colors. I'm gonna paint with white to reveal what we have inside this layer mask. And now I'm gonna start painting. I'm gonna set my opacity and flow around 50%. And now I'm just painting. Okay, it's looking better. All I want to remove is the white spots. Not spots, dots. About the nose, I'm not sure. I think I want to leave it. Yeah, I will leave those details. All right. I don't want to over push this. Let me take a look of. I'm not sure. I think if I push it farther, I'm gonna start losing things that I don't want to lose. But let me take a look. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay. Okay, I guess the first stage of this it's close to be done. Maybe I should work a little more around the eyes. Okay, now I'm gonna try to make this skin more even. For this work, I think I'm gonna use first one of the different red fixtures that we have. So let me start with red Fakov, and we're gonna be mixing the different red removals with different skin evening tools like smooth finish skin or beauty blender. Again, be sure to select your layer mask and be sure to select a brush with white color. I'm gonna start painting. We are trying to make the reds more natural. This particular action also add small quantity of luminosity. So if you notice that your skin is a little more light, it's totally fine. This is why you have different options for red corrections. Okay, I start seeing something that I like. I'm gonna leave the feet and hands alone, maybe just a little in here, that's all. I will not gonna spend a lot of time on those details. Alright, let's start moving around with Beauty Blender and Smooth Finish Skin. By the way, as you can see, I do not flat any layer, I do preserve everything in here. This is how I like to work. If you rather to flat all your image, it's okay. You will not have any weird experience with the actions, but maybe you want to preserve the layers just in case you want to decrease or increase opacities or anything, you will be able to do it. Okay, let's work a little with the Beauty Blender and let's try to make this skin look better. Try to be gentle around the eyes. we don't want to make the eyes looks funny. Okay. This start looking better. I do want to work a little with dodge and burn around this baby. Okay. Now we can, of course, we're gonna need to play with different shades of gray around the mouth. This is pretty common in newborns. Before keep working with smooth finish skin or repeating the beauty blender step, I will try to make the skin tone a little more even. So let me use the goodbye gray. I'm gonna run the standard color. I think this is gonna be fine. In any case, we can change it by hand, so it's not a big deal. If we miss the color selection, we can change it later. How? Just opening the group and selecting this color, that's all. I'm gonna add more color below this eye, maybe something like this. I don't want to over push the saturation, like this. Alright, this is looking better. Okay. Let me take a quick look to the before and after. This is going in a good direction, I think, but it's just not done. Okay, at this point we could work by hand with different tools, or we can keep working. Let me ungroup this. I'm gonna use the smooth finish skin. Again, in this case, this tool, it's adding more luminosity, something similar to the red fuck off. What I don't want to is lose all the details in the skin. So to try to preserve a little more the details, what I'm gonna do is, before keep pushing, I'm gonna use dodge and burn. Let me decrease just a little this, and now I'm gonna use dodge and burn. I'm gonna turn on the visual help, and I think I'm gonna crank up the darkening like this. Perfect. This allows me to see where I want to bring in more light. Of course, if you're thinking that you can do this part of the work using frequency separations, it's okay, you can do it. I don't really like use frequency separations in skin. I don't know, it looks fake. I don't like it. I don't like the appearance of the skin after painting. I don't know. It's like the only word I can imagine it's cheap retouching, but this is looking better. what I'm trying to do is make the transitions in the luminosity softer or more even. Something like this. We're gonna see the before and after in a moment. Let's enhance this lip. I'm moving the gray point to be able to see the darkest side of this image. I can add some light in the center of the eyeball. Okay. This is something I don't like about this shadow. It's too deep. Alright, better. And just a little in here, and that's all. Too much. Okay. It looks better. Always be sure to let your eyes rest for a while. 2 minutes, 3 minutes is enough. Well, especially after working a long time in color correction, for example, it's like your eyes will stop seeing colors, and it's like you're sort kind of blind for a moment. So after resting your eyes for a while, it's gonna be good to go again. Okay, we can fix a little more reds and details in the skin. And this is what we're gonna do now. I think the dodge and burr working is crucial for any skin retouch. Let's take a look of what happened if we use the red fuck off again. To take a quick look, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disable for a moment the layer mask. Okay, this is gonna help us. So what I'm gonna do is just again select a brush, a white brush, and I'm gonna paint. Just in this case I'm gonna be more precise or gentle with my brush, and I'm gonna try to paint more over the really red places and not overall the image. Of course, be sure to avoid lips. You want to to preserve the red in the lips. Okay, better. Don't worry if you feel like you miss or lose shadows. At least I don't mind, because I know I'm gonna crank up the contrast in a moment. So we have a sort of yellowish cast in here. I don't like it at all. I'm gonna show you different ways to deal with this. Of course, you can use the jaundice helper or fixer to do this, but I want to show you a way to do it by hand. In this case, jaundice helper is not helping at all. And I don't know, I think we are losing maybe too much color in here. I don't know, it's not bad, but maybe we can do this in a different way. I'm sorry, I'm closing WhatsApp in my computer because I don't want to, I don't know, disturb the video or, you know. Okay, let's take a quick look to this before and after. I'm gonna group everything. I like it, but again, I can see a yellow cast in the skin, and I don't know, I'm not entirely happy with the color. So we're gonna need to work, or I'm gonna need to work around that. I'm pretty sure the mistake in here is the second red fuck off working, or group, but I'd rather to help you to understand how to fix this than do it in a different way. Let me think. We have different ways. Hue and saturation, I think this is my first call. Using hue and saturation for this work could be maybe the best call. Let's proceed. I'm gonna select the hue and saturation adjustment layer, and in here I'm gonna select yellows. I'm gonna crank up all the saturation, and now I'm gonna move this slider, the bottom slider, a little to the left in this case because I'm looking for oranges, and now we can see, we are seeing in skin these yellowish patches. So what we're gonna do, it's really simple. I'm gonna turn this back again. You can go to 0, and now I'm gonna move the top slider. Of course, if I push this too much, and this is gonna be sort of ridiculous, but the point in here is, let's repeat this step few times so we can make it in a maybe good way and we have a good transition in colors. So I'm gonna repeat this process. I'm gonna select yellows, and we're gonna repeat the process. I will not duplicate the layer. You're gonna have different results. It's not the same. I'm gonna decrease the saturation just a little, and I'm gonna go to the left again just a little. Maybe I need to increase the luminosity, and I'm gonna repeat this process at least one more time. I'm gonna select the yellows, and let me find those patches. Maybe a little more. And you maybe are thinking, okay, but I only want to fix the face or the skin. What are you doing? You're affecting the whole image. You're totally right. But give me a second. Maybe a little more, or we need one more or two more steps, I think. Okay, let's try to be happy with this. I'm gonna group all these yellow fixer, let's call yellow fixer this one, and I'm gonna use a layer mask for my entire group, and I'm gonna turn this layer mask in black, pressing Command I, and now I'm gonna paint inside this layer mask with white, and now we are only affecting the skin. Maybe the change is too subtle for the video. Trust me, we have a nasty yellow cast in the skin, and now we kind of muted. I only have one thing I don't like, and it's an oversaturated spot over the eyebrow. We're gonna fix it. Okay, at this point we can decide if we want to run one more action for have this more even. Maybe it's a good call. So let's take a look how it looks with one more pass of Beauty Blender. Yeah, good work. I'm gonna bring it into the main group, and again I'm gonna paint with white inside layer mask. How long this should take you in real life? Of course it depends of your let me take a look. It's gonna depend about how fast are you using Photoshop and your practice, but I think something around 10 minutes per image, more or less, should be enough in average for this kind of skin. Let's say 15 minutes. I think something between 10 and 12. Again, I'm not happy with this, and let me try to show you what I'm watching. I do have something in here. Saturation map. Yeah. If you can see this white spot in here, this white spot means that we have more saturation than round. We're gonna decrease this just using a vibrance adjustment layer. I'm gonna be more pushy with this, and of course I'm gonna invert this layer mask. Off, too much. Alright, better. So this is sort of a dodge and burn working, but for saturation. Of course I will not expecting that you do want to do this in all your images. Don't worry. Something you should have in mind always the highlights, the very highlights and shadows, like the dark shadows, you have less saturation or less color than the midtones. So if you have the same saturation in your shadows than in your midtones, like for example, when you use a brush to paint below the texture layer in your frequency separation work, it's gonna look fake. This is our sat equalizer. I'm more happy now. Okay. Let's say that this is sort of skin work. Let me show you the before and after. I'm gonna save this just in case. All right. Let's go with this flower and let's see what can we do. I'm gonna create an empty layer and I'm gonna use the patch tool and I'm gonna do something really quick, which is yeah, this. I'm not entirely sure that if this is the flower I want, but okay, it's crashed. I do only want this click, not the others. And now I'm gonna use a layer mask. So I'm gonna apply a layer mask over this. I'm gonna decrease opacity just to be able to see behind, and I'm gonna rotate this. So I'm gonna press Command T and I'm gonna rotate just a little, maybe, I don't know, something like this. I'm gonna start like erasing or hiding a lot, and then I'm gonna be more precise. I do wanna have an overall idea of how it looks before spend time in something that I don't like. Okay, let's go to 100% opacity, and of course we're gonna need to delete this. Okay, at this point I'm sort of happy with the result, considering that we spent less than 5 minutes. We can preserve this, and all right, we're gonna need to cast a shadow or this gonna be unbelievable, like in the bad way. And we don't want that. Let me take a look to this. Yeah, this looks horrible. But in the other hand, better. Nope, this one. Okay. maybe I can, let me take a look of how this looks if I decrease the size, and let me move it around. Yeah, now I buy it. Wrong color. Okay, good enough. Okay, this is flower. I'm gonna change the group blend mode to normal because I want to use a curve, and instead using a bunch of clipping mask, I'm gonna set the group to normal, so all the adjustment layers inside the group only gonna affect what you have inside the group. I'm gonna do something like this. Too much. Okay, better. Okay. Yes, I'm dodging and burning a flower. I'm sorry. I could tell you that this is important, but it isn't. Okay, there is something that I'm not entirely happy in this part, so I'm sorry, I can't with myself. And maybe now. Why not? Okay. Better. Oh, wrinkles. I forget it. Okay. If you are not boring enough, we can work with clothes. I have two, at least, different ways in mind to do this. One could be using frequency separation. I told you that I don't like. But I told you that I don't like for skin. And for clothes could be pretty useful. But in this case, we almost do not have any texture because it's really out of focus. So I don't know. I think could be a good option, and we can also use empty layers, a bunch of spot healing brush or just the regular healing brush, or you can, or we can try with dodge and burn. I think dodge and burn could be a really good exercise for dodge and burn this one, especially because when I increase the luminosity in the deeply dark wrinkles, we're gonna need to bring in more color because, as we talked before, the darkest part of the image have a different saturation. So I don't know, I think I would like to be doing this at live, so I can ask you what you want. And no, doing in the both different ways, it's just not an option. Or this is gonna be really long and it's gonna be really boring for you. Okay, I'm watching the flower again and I wanna put my hands over to make more detailed. I'm thinking. Okay. Okay, let's use frequency separation for this. Just because I want to show something else about frequency separations, which is really simple, but at least for me it's important. Where are you? Frequency separation. Here you are. Okay. In this point you will select a radius. I'm gonna go out a little to find our spots, and we're gonna have a problem in here. If I go really far with the radius, we're gonna have to work in two different layers. We're gonna need to work in the texture layer and in the color layer, and if I go too down, we will have everything in the color layer. I don't know, I never like this technique, I hate it. Let's go with something small, like 5, why not? And I'm gonna turn off the texture layer so I will be able to see what I am doing. And at this point I'm pretty sure you know what to do. It's only select a brush. It doesn't matter if it's the regular brush or the different wet brushes, it's more or less the same, and try to reduce this. I don't like it, it's just like painting. So let's try to be smarter, but let's try to take a look before. This should be sort of fast and easy. Let me take a look to something. Oh, 5 by 5. No, I want to grab a big average color, like 31 by 31 pixels. I feel like I'm cheating when I do this. Okay, let's grab something darker to smooth this just a little, and let's try to make this dark line at the end more light. Of course, you're gonna need to be more precise, right? Let me look the before and after. There is something keep bothering me. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna create a new empty layer in darken, because I only want to use this layer to darken the image, to darken the light wrinkles. and I'm gonna do something similar with lighten. I think I'm gonna leave this alone. I'm gonna use this for lighten. And the reason I do have this in separate layers is because I want to work with different opacities in the layers, maybe, or I don't know, maybe I'm not sure. Okay, let me show you something. I don't know if this is the case in any case, but when you use frequency separation, maybe it's a good call. Use it for the part of the image, or mask the part of the image that you want to work. Let's assume that we want to work the skin and clothes. So I'm gonna use an entire group. I'm gonna paint with black this layer mask, and now I'm gonna paint with white the part of the image I do want to work. In case you want to work the skin, just paint skin, paint with white in the skin, and that's all. And the reason of this is when you use the frequency separation in all your image and you have part of the image without texture, you're gonna increase a lot banding. And in case you don't have banding, or you don't have visible banding, in some cases you're gonna make this banding visible, or you're gonna make this banding appears. So maybe it's a good call to mask everything out and just reveal the part of the image you want to work, right? Honestly, for me, this is, I don't know, I don't like it. This is sort of not good enough. So let me try to do something else with dodge and burn. In this case, I'm gonna, first of all, I'm gonna move this outside the group, and now I'm gonna increase just a little the darken, yeah. And let's try to make this more rounded, and I want to leave not the wrinkles, but the wrinkles. Like not the bad ones, but something in the clothes that give you the feeling of deepness, if this has some sense for you. All right, maybe I do want to decrease more and more in here. Maybe let's reduce a little this. Okay, we are close to too much to be good. I'm gonna go a little further. Okay, I'm gonna duplicate this burn group. I'm gonna make it black, all black again. And the reason of this is I want to work the volume now and not the detail or the wrinkles. And this is why I went really far away, because what I'm gonna do now is work on the shape. And if I am too close to the image, I am not able to understand the overall shape. I'm only watching detail. So when you want to work shape, maybe it's a good decision go really far away like this, and now you will be watching the overall shape and not the detail. Something like this. Let's try to understand more the light. We need more light in the back. And why not? I know, I'm cheating. This supposed to be done, the skin part, but and let's increase the pillow light and darkening to bring in more volume. And do you remember that I told you at the beginning that maybe it could be a good call to work a little with color in this image? Now is when we're gonna start doing that. Yeah. I ever done something in here? Okay. Better. I'm gonna group these two together just to show you the before and after of clothes. Of course, I did add some luminosity in the face as well with Dodge and Burn, but let's try to be focused on the clothes. There is something I don't like, and I think I remove everything, and I don't want to. I just want to. This is why I do want to preserve always the groups or the layers. I rather to have some, maybe something like this. We smooth everything out. Now it's more pleasant, but it's not fake or over-retouched. And I don't know, I rather to have some imperfections to get more realistic shoot. Okay. We're gonna work with color now. I like to split the color work in light stages. I like to grade the images using highlights, midtones, and shadows. In this case, the color palette it's pretty clear. It's pretty obvious. So I will not shift everything. I will work over the photographer idea, which was have everything in creamy and pastel tones. So, oh, this is for the Dutch and Burn, so this should be inside of here. Colors, or color. Well, we should say light and color because we're gonna work light and color, but let's start with color. I'm gonna use the color balance, and I'm gonna start with highlights. No, well, this is up to you. I'm gonna start with highlights, but you can start, if you want to start with shadows, it's okay. Highlights, this is gonna be for midtones, and I'm gonna duplicate this, and this is gonna be for shadows. Right? Highlights. To make this I will start, I'm not sure, I will start using something more cool for the highlights, and I'm gonna bring more warm tone for the shadows, at least for the beginning, and from there I will keep working. This is for the shadows, and okay, and let's go with midtones. And the reason of why I told you that we need to work light and color is, again, when I move the luminosity of this, the color gonna change. So it's a good call, maybe work the color at the top and work the light below the color. You can do it working the color and over the colors, working the light, but the result gonna be different. So what I'm gonna do in here, I'm gonna work light, and we can use levels for this. For sure I do want to increase the highlights, maybe the shadows I will work a little more over the shadows for sure. I am sure that we want something more creamy. I think we have too much red in the midtones. Too yellowish. We need more contrast, that's for sure, but I only want to work in the shadows. So for this, I'm gonna use deep shadows. I think this is too much. Okay, better. Let me add some tint. To make sure this is only affecting the shadows, I'm gonna use the blend if to remove it from the highlights. Maybe too much. Okay. Let's see the before and after. I think the skin color is too close. to the props color. I'm gonna remove from the shadows the highlights color adjustment to be able to work by separated. For sure, I don't want to add a really cool tone for the highlights. Now I start being more happy with this. Yeah, now we have more volume. This is our mood. Yeah, okay. Well, we can add sharpening. Of course, we could work a little with the Dodge and Burn to make this background more even, or even working with the liquify tool to make these lines more straight. But if I start working those details, I think this is gonna be too long and maybe too boring for you. Maybe I only gonna reduce these wrinkles and that's all. Maybe now you understand me why I don't like to delete layers, and because I go back and forward a lot, I'm pretty sure you will not do this part of the work in your daily retouch, but if you can learn something new, why not? Why not show it? Oh, this is tricky. By the way, Dodge and Burn with mouse, it's really hard. If you have the chance to work with a tablet like a Wacom or any other brand, maybe at the beginning you will need to practice or get some time to be comfortable using it, but with the time you're gonna save a lot of time and you're gonna get more precision. Yeah, it's more even. If I crank up the luminosity of this big one, you're gonna notice the color it's off. We talked about this before, about the different toning in shadows, if you remember. And I'm gonna crop this little one, and that's all, I guess. No, wrong layer. Yep, now we are better, just a little. Let's take a look to something in the forehead. Yeah, why not? We are at this point. Yep. Let's increase these shadows a little to bring more volume. Let's go in. At this point I sort of blind, so I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, that's all, at least for this baby. Where are you in here? Better. And let's see the before and after. Okay, I am saving, and I want to show you something about cropping, and you will be free to go. Okay, I'm gonna crop this using the original ratio. I'm gonna use, you can select the different visual help to how you want to crop with this overlay. In this case, this posing, I want to be close to align the end of this eye with the end of the mouth. So I'm gonna work something like this. Yep. And I'm gonna close a little more the frame. I would like to close it enough to, but I think it's gonna be too much. Let me go farther. We need to, yeah, we are better now. If you miss a little portion of the background in here, it's pretty easy to fix. It's just to select spot healing brush and paint around will be good enough. The only thing I want to do is bring a little more contrast maybe to the face, but I don't know, at this point is good enough. I'm gonna use the classic S-curve, but I don't want to mess with the details. Be gentle when you do this, because as you can see, the color explodes. So, and if you use this in luminosity blend mode, will not be just good enough. Better. Done. We are done. All right. Okay, I think that's all. I really hope that you can learn different ways to do things, and I think more important that learn how I do it is maybe why I am doing something or not. I like this diagonal. Yeah, and as I told you, fix something like this it's really easy. I'm gonna use the flower layer for doing this. That's all. Okay, I think that's all. So keep in touch and practice. So see you. Bye bye.